Hello, viewers. I am Mr. Dilip Kumar Pal. Stands before you today with a very important topic of international relations, that is third world nations, emergence of third world nations. Today's video mainly gives attention to emergence of third world nations. In the topic emergence of third world nations, this video focuses mainly what is the meaning of third world nations, how they have emerged, and what are their principles. I think my viewers will enjoy this video, and this video will give a lot of important facts about third world nations. What is third world nations? How they have come, and what are their principles they carry. Let us start. The word third world nations has been used for the first time by a French historian and demographer Alfred Sauvy. He used the word third world nations for the first time in 1952 when he spoke for the first time about third world nations, and he derived this concept third world nation from the concept of third estate, during the French Revolution. During the French Revolution, common people were not comparable with the nobles and clergy. Nobles were rich and advanced. Clergy, priest class, they are also rich and advanced. But common people were not advanced, rather they were poor. So, common people during the French Revolution were treated as the third estate. But clergy were treated as the first estate, and nobles were treated as the second estate. So during the French Revolution, common people, those who were treated as third estate, they were exploited, they were poor, while the clergy, who were regarded as the people of first estate, and noble, who were regarded as the people of second estate, were rich and advanced and economically better. So as during the French Revolution, common people were backward, exploited, not advanced, not economically better. In the similar manner, after Second World War, there were some poor nations who were exploited. They were not better economically. They were agricultural based, and they were not comparable with the rich nations. So, Alfred Sauvy compared the people of third estate during the French Revolution same as third world nations after Second World War. So, Alfred Sauvy for the first time uttered the word third world nations. For him, just as people of third estate during French Revolution, they were backward, exploited, poor. In a similar manner, after Second World War, there were some nations which were backward, exploited, not economically better. And these poor, backward, and not economically better nations were described as third world nations by Alfred Sauvy. So, here or in the international relations, third world nation means those nations which were very poor, not economically better, they were exploited, they were known as third world nations. But third world nations has also some features. And here we'll discuss as many as 10 features which describe a nation as third world nation. So third world nations have some common features. The first feature of third world nation is that these nations belong to Asia, Africa, Latin America, Middle East, Caribbean and Oceania area. Third world nations generally belong to Asia, Africa, Middle East, Caribbean, Oceania, Middle East area. And they occupied, their percentage is 75%. They cover 75% of the world population and 70% of the world's area. So the first feature of third world nation is that they belong to Asia, Africa, Latin America, Middle East, Caribbean and Oceania area. Their population is 75% of the world population and their area is 70% of the world area. And number two, these nations had colonial past. These nations were ruled by some nations in the past. These nations were ruled once upon a time. And number three, low rate of industrialization. These nations were not industrially developed. They are economically backward. This is a common feature. Number four, low to very low per capita income that is insufficient to generate economic growth. People of these nations have low to low per capita income that will unable to generate economic growth. Fifth one, low literacy level but high population growth. They are uneducated but the growth rate in population is very high. And number six, poor health facilities and trade infrastructures. They have poor health facilities and transport infrastructures. They have poor health facilities and poor trade infrastructures. Then 7, dependence in agriculture. They are agricultural based. They depend on agriculture. Then weakness in trade relations. They do not have much trade relations with other countries. Export of commodities for foreign exchanges. They only export commodities to earn foreign exchanges. Aloof from Middle East. Aloof from First World War. Aloof from First World, which consists of USA, Western nations and its allies. And Second World, Soviet Union, China, Cuba and its allies. These third world nations were aloof from First World War. These third world nations aloof from First World consists of USA, Western countries and its allies. And they were aloof from Second World, consists of Soviet Russia, China, Cuba and its allies. They are a separate bloc from the America and its allies, and they are aloof from Russia and its allies. So these are the common features of third world nations. Now we'll discuss when third world nations had formed an organization. On 17th April 1955, on 17th April 1955, 5 nations took a initiative like India, Pakistan, Ceylon, Burma and Indonesia to form to arrange a conference at Bandung in Indonesia. So the first Third World Conference was held in Bandung, Indonesia on 17th April 1955 by the initiation of 5 nations like India, Pakistan, Ceylon, Burma and Indonesia. And for the first time they were organized in this conference. And they became more organized when they participated in an international problem. Because on 26 July 1956, Suez Canal was nationalized. When Suez Canal was nationalized, Britain, France and Israel raised their voice. So there was an international conflict between Egypt in one hand and Britain, France and Israel on the other hand. So in this international conflict, third world nation for the first time supported Egypt. Okay, so this third world nation for the first time organized in an international conflict. And these nations of third world nations always support South-South dialogue and North-South dialogue. South-South dialogue means whenever there will be a discussion among poor nations, this third world nation support it. And whenever there will be a discussion between North and South, North means rich, South means poor, discussions, these third world nations also strongly support that type of dialogue or that type of discussion. So we are clear what is third world nations, and we are clear who uttered the word third world nations. A Frenchman who was a historian and a demographer, Alfred Sauvy, for the first time used the word third world nations in 1952. So we are clear what is the meaning of third world nations, who used the word third world nations, and how they have organized for the first time in an international dispute, and how they have arranged a conference of third world nations. Now discuss what are the principles. It is very important. What are their principles or what are their main policy? The first principle of third world nation is that support movement for national independence. Whenever and wherever in any part of the world there will be national movement, they support it because they were all colonial nations. Number 2, respect sovereignty, integrity of all nations. They give respect to sovereignty, integrity and unity of all nations. They give respect to all nations. They salute independence of all nations. Number 3, respect equality of all nations, small or large. They give respect to equality of all nations. It may be small or large. They give respect, they treat all nations equal. They treat all nations equal, may be small or large. Number 4, not to interfere in the internal affairs of a nation. They do not like to interfere in the internal affairs of any nation. 5, respect of rights of all nations to defend themselves. It gives respect to all nations that they can defend themselves. Number 6, refrain from use of force against a nation. They do not like to use force against any nation. Settlement of international disputes peacefully on the basis of UN Charter. They believe to settle international disputes peacefully and on the basis of UN Charter. They give priority to central role to UNO. They give priority to UNO. They want UNO should play a major role. Number 9, stress to multilateral decision in place of unilateral decision in international sphere. They believe that in the international sphere, one nation should not take in decision. Rather, all decisions in the international sphere will be taken by all nations. Then, stress to coordination among third world nations to secure common interest. They stressed that poor nations should be united to secure their common interest. Then, stress relations among all nations. They give priority to relations among all nations. They want all nations should have good relations. Then, priority to peaceful coexistence. They believe that all nations should have peaceful coexistence. All nations should live peacefully. Then, oppose hegemonic domination in international relations. They oppose the domination of any country in international affairs. No country should dominate in international affairs. Next, promote democratization of UNO. They believe that UNO should be formed democratically. It should not be formed by so many persons. Finally, condemn genocide and crime against humanity. They condemn, they oppose genocide, mass killing, and crime against humanity. They always support human beings, their rights, and human feelings. So, in this video, which is a very important video, gives a clear picture what is the meaning of third world nations. Who uttered the word third world nation? And what are the basic principles of third world nations? And when the first conference of third world nations was held in Bandung, and we are clear that this third world nations support always South-South discussion, dialogue, North-South dialogue. And we have discussed how they for the first time became one in international dispute when Suez Canal was nationalized. And we have discussed as many as 15 important principles of third world nations. So, I request my viewers to collect important facts from this video relating to third world nations. I think my viewers will make best utilize of this video, and I request you to subscribe my channel so that valuable videos of the future relating to your academic sphere will be in your hand. Thank you viewers. Again I will be here with another video. Till now, goodbye to you all.